Dave first appeared at the preserve with his entry into our Halloween scavenger scarecrow contest, he has been a perennial Best in Show winner and fan favorite.
That's right up my alley. I was like, what do I have? Let me look through the pile of junk and see what I can come up with that would fit in the gardens. And so made me a scarecrow with a skeleton structure and wheeled her in, and people came out of the woodworks just, wow, this is cool. So it was kind of my first introduction into the Springs.
Since then, he has regularly contributed works that have made him a much sought-after sculptor for this larger show.
So I've asked him over the years the kinds of pieces he has, and he put together a proposal for me. We talked about the possibility of exhibiting some gardens art, and it just kind of worked out nicely that he's in fact our inaugural artist, and for our very first outdoor gardens exhibit.
And the exhibit has special significance for the Springs Preserve because it is art that supports our sustainable ethic.
There's also a very nice affinity for the Springs Preserve in our sustainability message, in that the pieces that Dave has here on exhibit are all pieces that are made from found objects. So he takes a piece of trash, whether it be the interior portion of a dryer or part of a refrigerator or some other kind of mechanical equipment, disassembles it and reimagines it into something beautiful.
In a truly creative process that Dave describes with typical humility.
It's junk art, or I kind of come from the junk side of it rather than the art side of it. So it's fun to watch that pile of stuff nobody wants, just kind of move it around, reposition it a little bit, and then watch that personality and that expression just pop out of it. And it still makes me wonder, like, wow, where'd that come from?
And really, almost anywhere you look, you're likely to find works that turn the preserve into a fairy tale setting of fantastical flora and fauna.
They're scattered here and there, and I didn't want to make it so the art was initially front and center. So in many cases, there might be something peeking out behind a tree. It's not hidden by any means, but it may not be what your eyes immediately go to, and you have to look behind it. And to me, that's kind of the fun, part of the fun of nature. And the gardens certainly are a perfect opportunity for that.
The gardens also provide an expansive enough landscape to display one of Dave's massive dragons with its characteristically creative anatomy.
The piece I started with that kind of said, let's start with a dragon, was a frame out of an old motorcycle.
But the framework did cause some unintended problems with the proportions of the dragon.
And I was kind of looking at this thing, I says, kind of looks like a chicken. I says, I'm not going to build a chicken. I want a dragon, not a chicken.
So he managed to crown him with an impressive and mobile head.
I made him a big head, and I wanted to turn and swivel and open up and down, so movement was kind of what I was wanting to work into this piece. So I used a swivel base off of an office chair.
And receiving some wings from a surprising source finally made the whole figure seem to take flight.
I says, he needs some sort of wings. And the neighbor next door says, I've got this old satellite dish. You think you want it? It's like, cha-ching! He kind of grew in a hurry. It came out so perfect with the curvature and the pie shapes, and all I had to do was make a couple of little hinge brackets, and it built itself.
But this miraculous transformation of trash into treasure is never complete except in the eyes and imagination of an audience like the Preserve members, who were invited to an opening day garden party where David and his creations were met with much acclaim.
The artist is currently leading a tour right now through a number of his pieces as well, to talk about how they were constructed and the materials used to make them, and hopefully encourage the visitors to think about how they can transform something in their own backyard that they might think of as trash into something creative and fun.
Oh, I think that I'm going to be starting to do that too, but maybe only with PVC instead of spot welding and stuff like that, because like he pointed out to me that it's very expensive to get into with all the welding equipment, and I'm not too good with fire. I'm good with glue.
Just sustainability aspect of it is great. I mean, some things that we don't think about, we can throw it in the trash. This gentleman, the artist, picks them up and creates them into beautiful pieces of art for kids to enjoy. Not just kids, like big kids too, for us.
Because we all share the innocent pleasure of recognition when it comes to these subjects and the objects that form them.
I want you to be able to look at it and say, oh, that's a cow, or that's a dragon, that's a bird. But then the flip side, look deeper from the part side of it and say, I recognize that wrench or that shovel, or what is that out of?
And that makes a more complex statuary style which celebrates and encourages us to appreciate our history of industry.
Somewhere that part was made, it was used in something else all across the country. It did its job, and then it ended up with me, and then I was able to repurpose that piece, and then you can look at how it was used and just imagine its life as its other part, and then sometimes that adds more character to the piece as well.
Which is why these pieces of treasured trash seem to be so uniquely in keeping with everything the Springs Preserve stands for.
Well, I just think the exhibit was neat and it was
Everybody should
interesting.
come see it. Everybody. It's wonderful.
So it adds a lot to the garden.
I mean, it just flows together. It looks like it was meant to be here, his artwork. It just blends in perfectly. It's really a beautiful addition.